Up. I got a NU match, and I haven't really liked NU this generation, but there was a tournament, so I decided to play in it, and I threw this team together real quick. I actually, these three mons are S tier or S rank, sorry, and then these two are A plus, and then I wanted a rocker, and Seismitoad is actually like B, I think. So, I was pretty much just using the top ranks, and then a rocker. And it actually worked out really well. And this was actually Camerupt isn't, or Mega Camerupt isn't in NU. Excuse me. But they're retesting him right now, and he has an interesting team. This was the quarterfinals of a tournament. So let's get into it. It was a pretty big tournament, like 32 or 64, something like that. But I always lead off with Passiman, pretty much always. Scarfed Passiman, and it gets Defiant now. It wasn't legal for the longest time, but now it's legal. And normally I just go for the U-turn, but I decided just to knock off turn 1 because I figured he's gonna switch out. I didn't know it was Silverleaf Fairy, but he shows me it is, so that sucks. I actually go into Heliolisk predicting the parting shot, but this turn he switches into Decidueye. I was like, you know what? Since he switched into this, I'm gonna Volt Switch out. But he doubles into Camerupt knowing I'm not gonna hit Surf. I mean, I was thinking about it, to be honest, but I just switched into Seismitoad to take the fire move. But look at this! A Fire Blast does about half to Seismitoad. That is ridiculous. Like, that reminds me of Choice Banded Head Smash Rampardos. I mean, they did a lot more to Seismitoad, but still, that's a chunk of damage right there. That is absolutely ridiculous. I decided to just Scald. I mean, I have to Scald to offensively threaten that thing. I get the crit and the burn, which sucks for him. I'm going to switch into Xatu, predicting the Toxic. He just goes to the Roost. I believe I U-turn here knowing he's not going to want to stay in case I have Psychic. Yeah, he goes into Slowking. I'm going to switch to Incineroar on a Slowking. Obviously, I can threaten the knockoff, and I'm actually going to go for this knockoff. But again, he shows me Silverleaf Fairy, and I get to slow U-turn out of this. He goes into Camerupt, and I'm like, alright, now I can go to Seismitoad and offensively threaten this thing. And instead, I'm going to set up the Rock since I know he's not going to stay in since I have the 4 times, maybe Oko that thing, but probably not Oko, but definitely do a lot of damage. He doesn't want that. I'm going to switch into Vileplume on the Passiman. Unfortunately, he gets the Paralyze, which actually plays a huge role in this game. Yeah, that really does suck. I just went for the Sludge Bomb to hit anything, really. I'm going to go into Incineroar knowing he's not going to want to go for the Toxic. He goes for the Defog that time, and I believe I U-turn. Yeah, I guess so. He wanted to Roost. I knock off. Okay, that's what I did. I went for the knockoff to get his E-Violet off, and now I'm going to hard switch to Xatu, predicting the Toxic. So that was a good prediction on my part. I'm going to go for the 1 Nightshade here. He knows I don't have Psychic because I didn't go for it last time. So, or he predicted that, I don't know. And now I'm going to U-turn knowing he's not going to want to stay in Roost. That's just a dead game right there. So, he goes into Slowking. I'm going to go into Incineroar. And this time I U-turn. He predicts that very nicely and is able to go for the Psyshock. But it doesn't really... That was actually crazy that I went for the Psyshock on Incineroar now that I think about it. But, anyways... I'm going to U-turn out directly. He goes into his thing. I switch into Incineroar. And now I just Flare Blitz, seeing as I can hit anything. And look at how bulky Incineroar is. I predicted him to switch out that time, so I went for the U-turn. I could have killed him, but I didn't. He goes into Passiman. I'm just going to Nightshade. Okay, right here, look at this. What is Passiman going to do versus Xatu? He's going to knock off, right? So what would you switch into to take this knockoff? Think about this. I mean, really. But my thought, you don't have to think too hard. I mean, I have defensive Seismitoad. You can get rid of the leftovers. I have Vileplume. Vileplume can take it and heal up. I could go Incineroar to eat this up. Get rid of my berry, though. That kind of sucks. But what I decided was I wouldn't have done this if the Passiman wasn't paralyzed. So since he's paralyzed, I went into my Passiman because the only thing that's going to outspeed Passiman now is Silverleaf, and Silverleaf's almost dead. And maybe Golbat, but probably not Golbat. So I go into to Passiman to take the knockoff, right? I get knocked off. That's awesome. Now I'm just going to close combat and try to kill the Passiman. It works out for me. I'm like, sweet. This is sick. Awesome. I'm actually happy I'm not Choice Scarf, because look at this. I get that awesome free damage into Incineroar. He actually reveals his Z move here. And look, this only does 20%. That's beautiful. So I believe I just, I Flare Blitz here just to hit anything really. And I'm gonna switch out knowing, not knowing what his attack is, and possibly Toxic. I don't want that. So I go into Xatu, the counter to the Golbat, and I'm gonna Nightshade, and I'm gonna mix it up here. So I've been going for one Nightshade and then U-turn. I should have done it again, but I went for a second Nightshade just to mix things up and to hit anything for 100 damage. And I'm gonna go into Seismitoad, predicting the Water move, but I have two things to absorb the Water move and a Vileplume. I set up the rocks and he kills me, so that kind of sucks for me. I forgot that those things carry Grass Knot. That's just not playing the meta enough, or playing the tier enough. But so this is awesome. I Flare Blitz down. I Flare Blitzed on purpose to get down to the range where Appa Berry would. I can't say it. Papa. Anyways, I'm gonna Flare Blitz. He's gonna Roost. I'm like, okay, if we're gonna play this game, I'm gonna go for one more, and he roosts again. And I'm like, okay, he's just playing this to whittle me down faster than he's getting whittled down. So third roost, I'm EQing this time. I did have the EQ. I just didn't want to go for it after one or two times. So after three times, or after two times on the third time I went for it. Now he defogs and I'm going to go for the Flare Blitz. I'm not going to go for the EQ twice. That's just silly. He goes into the Slowking. I'm like, okay, I can kill this. But he switches that to Decidueye. I guess he wanted the regen. I don't know why he didn't switch to Camerupt to keep the Decidueye. But anyways, at this point, the game is over. So I'm going to go into Heliolisk to Hyper Voice. But that probably wasn't the best switch. I probably could have gone to Passiman first. But I go into Xatu pretty much as fodder, I guess. I go for the Nightshade, and what does he kill me with? He kills me with Ice Beam. Now I go into Passiman because if he switches into Camerupt dies. I guess he could have gone to Camerupt and then back to Slowking, but either way, this game is over. So yeah, that was that game. It was pretty good. I hope you enjoyed it. I recommend you try NU for Gen 7 if you watch this whole video. So yeah, it's a lot more fun than I remembered it. Or actually, since Slowbro got banned, it's been a lot better. Goodbye.